Village, 3 men are in the hospital after a shooting. This happened around 3 this afternoon near 31st and St. Louis.
They saying happened is insane, but it seemed like the internet and already got this already figured out. You don't know what I'm talking about? They said they sliding for Zoo right now.
Chicago's drill scene has always been built on 3 things: loyalty, retaliation, and survival. But when those 3 things start to contradict each other, that's when the whole foundation starts to crack. And right now, in the aftermath of OTF Bayzoo's death, we're watching one of the biggest fractures the scene has ever seen. Because this isn't just about who pulled the trigger, it's about who got blamed.
Say those victims were standing in a parking lot when a car drove up and someone inside started firing. One of the men was taken to the hospital in critical condition. The other 2 are expected to survive. So far, no one is in custody.
And when Lil Durk's name started floating around, pointing fingers at Memo 600, that's when everything exploded. So let's break down exactly what happened, how it all connects, and why this might be the moment that changes OTF forever.
So, paint your dreads red, don't cry. On card, get wild. I need 20 for 1.
It started on a regular afternoon in Chicago's Little Village neighborhood. Around 3 p.m. near 31st and St. Louis, shots rang out. 3 men were hit. 2 survived in fair condition. But OTF Bayzoo, he didn't make it. Multiple gunshot wounds. Outside a shop, in broad daylight. Within hours, a video surfaced online. Grainy footage showing a man in a gray Nike tech fleeing the scene. And just like that, the streets started talking. Theories started forming. Names started getting dropped. One name in particular kept coming up: Lil Sam. Word on the internet was that he'd been bragging about his involvement. Whether that was true, or just street mythology spreading like wildfire, it didn't matter. The narrative was already being written in real time, tweet by tweet, comment by comment. But here's where it gets wild. While the internet was focused on Lil Sam, something else was brewing behind the scenes. Something way more personal. Something that would tear through the OTF circle like a knife. Because while fans were playing detective online, Lil Durk's camp was having a completely different conversation. Rumors started spreading fast. Durk wasn't just mourning Bayzoo, he was pointing fingers. And those fingers were aimed directly at Memo 600. Now let's be clear. Memo 600 and Lil Durk haven't been tight for a minute. Ever since Memo got dropped from OTF, there's been tension, public shots, subliminals, the kind of friction that never really goes away. It just simmers under the surface waiting for a spark. And Bayzoo's death? That was the spark. Word started circulating that Durk's people were blaming Memo for setting Bayzoo up. That maybe Memo had ties to the people who did it. That maybe he knew more than he was letting on. But Memo wasn't about to sit back and take that. He came online and clapped back hard, called the whole story twisted. Said people were deflecting blame, turning on each other instead of focusing on the real enemies. He wasn't just defending himself, he was calling out the hypocrisy, the paranoia, the fact that when something goes wrong, the easiest thing to do is point at someone close, and that's exactly what was happening. To understand why this hit so deep, you gotta understand the history. Durk's whole brand is built on loyalty. Loyalty over everything. It's tattooed on his arm, it's in his lyrics, it's the foundation of OTF. But that loyalty comes with expectations. You're either all in or you're out. There's no middle ground. And Memo? He wasn't willing to play the little bro role forever. Memo's spoken openly about how Durk pressured people to choose OTF over their own blocks. How it felt like you couldn't have your own identity, your own crew, your own moves. Everything had to go through Durk. Everything had to be OTF first. That friction led to Memo getting distanced from the camp. And once you're out, trust goes with you. So when Bayzoo got killed, and rumors started floating that Memo's people had ties to BD factions beefing with OTF, that old suspicion came flooding back, and then came the group chat rumors. This is where things get murky, because nobody outside that circle knows what's real and what's exaggerated. But the story that spread, it was damning. Word got out that there was a group chat, screenshots, voice notes, whatever, where Memo allegedly laughed about Bayzoo's death, where he allegedly showed no remorse, where he allegedly celebrated. Now, whether that's true or not, we don't know. But in the streets, perception is reality, and once that story hit Durk's ears, it didn't matter if it was facts or fiction. To Durk, that was disrespect. That was betrayal. That was everything he stands against wrapped up in one moment. And that's how Memo became the scapegoat. But let's zoom out for a second, because Memo wasn't the only name being thrown around. There's another layer to this story, and it involves Lil Zay Osama. See, Lil Zay has been taunting Durk and THF for a minute now, and it all goes back to something that sounds almost petty on the surface. Stolen watches. 2 watches, to be exact. Lil Zay himself said it. 2 watches got stolen, but 5 lives got taken. That line is chilling when you think about it, because what started as a robbery years ago spiraled into a body count. And THF Bayzoo, he was caught right in the middle of it. Lil Zay's crew and THF have been going back and forth for years. Earlier in the year, another THF rapper, THF TP, got killed. Then Lil Zay's associate, DMG Lil Deuce, got killed. Then Bayzoo. It's a chain reaction. One death leads to another. One retaliation sparks the next.
It was like a viral video of THF TP. He was walking with his kids,
and that shit went, you know what I'm saying?
Your ass funny as hell, bro. You fried, bro. Leave there. Your ass crazy as hell. Listen, that whole situation, wrong, bro.
And nobody knows where it ends. Before we go any further, let's talk about who Bayzoo really was. He wasn't just another name. He was respected. He was loyal. He represented the South Side with pride and authenticity. He was part of THF, Trigger Happy Family, a mix of Black Disciples and Mickey Cobras with deep ties to O-Block, 600, and Lemron. That connection linked him directly to Durk. They weren't just associates. They were part of the same extended family, the same network, the same code. So when Bayzoo got killed, it wasn't just a loss. It was a crack in the foundation. It was a reminder that nobody's safe, that loyalty doesn't always protect you, that even the most solid can become a target. And in the drill scene, that kind of loss sends shockwaves. Now, here's where the internet really went into overdrive. Because once Bayzoo's death made headlines, the theories started piling up. Some people said the shooter was flown out of Chicago immediately after the hit. Vegas rumors, coordinated escape plans, professional execution. Others said it was an inside job, that someone close set him up. That memo knew the time and place. And then there were the old Durk lyrics. Fans started going back through his catalog, pulling lines that suddenly seemed to have hidden meanings. Subliminals that maybe weren't so subliminal after all. Was Durk hinting at something? Was he speaking in code? Or were people just seeing patterns where there weren't any? The problem with the internet is that once a theory takes off, it becomes its own version of the truth. And in this case, the theory was that Memo was involved. Bayzoo's death didn't just affect his family and friends. It shook the entire drill community, because Bayzoo represented something. He was a bridge between the old guard and the new wave. He was someone people trusted, someone people believed in. And when someone like that gets taken out, the paranoia spreads. Suddenly, people start questioning who's really loyal, who's really solid, who might be next. Rumors started circulating that 600 members were distancing themselves from each other, that trust within OTF was breaking down, that the unity Durk had worked so hard to build was starting to fracture. And that's the thing about violence in this world. It doesn't just take lives. It takes trust. It takes peace of mind. It takes the belief that the people around you have your back. And once that's gone, it's almost impossible to get back. So when Memo came online with his response, it wasn't just about defending himself. It was a statement. He said people were so busy turning on each other that they forgot who the real enemies were. He said the streets were full of fake loyalty and real paranoia. He said, stop putting street karma on me. And in a way, he was right. Because the easiest thing to do when something goes wrong is to blame someone close. Someone you're already suspicious of. Someone who's already outside the circle. But that doesn't mean they're guilty. It just means they're convenient. And while all of this is playing out in public, Lil Durk is sitting behind bars. He's currently facing serious charges. Conspiracy and murder for hire, linked to the 2022 killing of Lil Pop. His trial was pushed back to October 2025 because of complex digital evidence and multiple co-defendants. But it doesn't stop there. Reports came out that Durk allegedly tried to destroy a contraband Apple Watch while in custody. Prosecutors claim he's still influencing people from behind bars. There's talk of using an anonymous jury for safety reasons. And a confidential witness allegedly said Durk put out bounties on 6 people. Durk maintains his innocence. He's pleading not guilty. But the weight of these charges, combined with the fallout from Bayzoo's death, is putting massive pressure on OTF's future. So here's the question everyone's asking. Who's really responsible for Bayzoo's death? Is it Lil Zay's crew, getting revenge for those stolen watches and years of back-and-forth violence? Is it old gang rivalries, BD factions, and OTF tensions reigniting after years of simmering beef? Or was Bayzoo just always a target because of who he was, where he was from, and who he stood with? And then there's Memo. Was he really involved? Or was he just an easy scapegoat, caught in the crossfire of blame when people needed someone to point at? The truth is, we might never know, because in Chicago, the streets don't always tell the truth. They tell stories, and those stories become legends, and those legends shape the narrative. After Bayzoo's death, tributes came pouring in. Prince Dre, 21 Savage, Pooh, SD. People from all corners of the scene paying their respects. But mixed in with that grief was frustration. Because this isn't new. This is the same cycle that's been playing out for over a decade. One death leads to another. One accusation leads to division. One moment of violence leads to years of retaliation. And somewhere in the middle of all that, loyalty gets lost. Trust gets shattered. And the people who built this scene on brotherhood start turning on each other. Memo said it best. Stop putting street karma on me. Because the real tragedy isn't just who pulled the trigger. It's what happens after. It's how quickly allies become enemies. It's how fast unity becomes paranoia. And as long as that cycle continues, the questions will always be the same. Did Durk blame Memo out of guilt? Out of grief? Out of desperation to find someone responsible? Or does Memo know more than he's saying? We might never know, but what we do know is this. Chicago's drill scene is more fractured than it's ever been. And until something changes, until the cycle breaks, the story will just keep repeating itself. Rest in peace to THF Bayzoo, and to everyone else caught in the storm, because in the end, nobody really wins.